Max Verstappen's long-term future in F1 has been in doubt beyond his current Red Bull contract of 2028. The 26-year-old, whose current Red Bull contract expires at the end of the 2028 season when he will be 31, has signaled a desire not to be in F1 during his late 30s and early 40s, unlike Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton. Andrea Kimi Antonelli has admitted to feeling pressure from Mercedes this year, as he continues to be linked to a full-time Formula One drive. Antonelli said, "Not always do I cope really well with pressure, obviously. This season has been a big amount of pressure, to be honest." Williams has a vacancy at the team next year with the second drive at the team alongside Alex Albon yet to be confirmed. Williams team principal James Vowles has declared he is keeping an open-minded policy to his driver lineup decision for next season. The Grove-based squad has signed Alex Albon to a multi-year extension but is yet to confirm his teammate for the 2025 campaign. Max Verstappen has had his share of teammates at Red Bull over the last handful of years and has largely outpaced them all. Red Bull advisor Helmut Marko has detailed how Pierre Gasly couldn't accept that Max Verstappen was a faster driver than him at Red Bull. Ferrari has endured a difficult time on the track of late, but Charles Leclerc is not concerned that it will be a long-term problem for the team. Charles Leclerc has expressed confidence Ferrari can soon fight. Helmut Marko has revealed his surprise around Lewis Hamilton's decision to quit Mercedes and join Ferrari. Despite signing a fresh contract with Mercedes in mid-2023 for 2 years, it was announced in February that Hamilton was activating a break clause in it to leave after just a single year. Marko said, "This is the most successful driver we have in history, and together with Ferrari, the share price went up, so you see the effect on the marketing and on the money side." Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff has admitted the pressure on Kimi Antonelli's shoulders will only increase as he progresses during his career. Toto said, "It was a rapid career progression. He's 17, he hasn't even got a driving license for a road car, and the best ones will be able to cope with that, with the amount of scrutiny and the pressure, and it's going to get bigger." Red Bull team principal Christian Horner has stated reserve driver Liam Lawson's eyes were left wide open after driving the RB17 hypercar in the simulator. Horner said the RB17 will be quicker at certain circuits than a Formula One car, not with me at the wheel, but with a pro driver. Liam Lawson drove the car on the simulator the other day, and I think his eyes were very wide open. Aston Martin has endured a difficult period on the track of late, but that has not stopped the team from being linked with some major names. Fernando Alonso has asserted Aston Martin remains a very exciting project for outside engineers to join despite its slump in on-track results. Outgoing Red Bull technical mastermind Adrian Newey has been heavily linked with a switch to Aston Martin after his departure from the Milton Keynes-based squad next year. Sergio Perez has struggled for form at Red Bull across the last number of races, leaving his future within the squad in the air. Pierre Gasly has weighed in on Sergio Perez's ongoing struggles at the Red Bull F1 team. The Mexican driver has endured a difficult stretch of races, scoring just 15 points across the last 6 Grands Prix. Gasly asserts something missing between Red Bull and Perez. It was the most dominant season in the history of F1, and one Horner expects will be reflected on by many in the future. It's only with hindsight that 2023 will become a very special year and what was achieved because it really was, and I keep referring to it, as a unicorn year. What we did last year was never achieved before, and may never be achieved again. Günther Steiner has insisted Lewis Hamilton has nothing to prove when he joins Ferrari next season, due to his status as a 7-time F1 champion and that he is above pressure. Hamilton announced ahead of this season that it would be his last with Mercedes before joining Ferrari to replace Carlos Sainz on a multi-year deal. He said, "I think Lewis is above pressure. Put this way, in his life he has achieved so much that he has become an icon of the sport." Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton will pair up as teammates in 2025 at Ferrari. Hamilton has endured a difficult run of seasons since 2022, with Mercedes slipping back in the pecking order under new technical regulations. Leclerc declared the 39-year-old is more focused on ending his Mercedes tenure strongly rather than opportunities with Ferrari. He said Lewis is focused on his last year with Mercedes and finishing on a high, so we are not speaking about anything that is going on within the team, about upgrades or whatsoever, but more about general stuff, not related to performance or anything like that. F1 announced the 6th sprint race host for next season on Thursday. Although many fans quickly highlighted their frustration on social media, only one change has been made from the season's sprint lineup for next year, with Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium replacing Austria's Red Bull Ring as a sprint race host. Belgium joins China, Miami, Austin, Brazil and Qatar as a sprint host next year, which sees a 100 km race before qualifying on a Grand Prix Saturday. When the sprint format is in use, a sprint qualifying runs after first practice on Friday. Only one practice session takes place during sprint weekends. But what are your thoughts? Stake F1 has announced the signing of Stefan Stranz as program director, ahead of Audi's 2026 arrival when the new power unit regulations are introduced. Stranz joins the Hinwil-based outfit from Mercedes, who he spent 13 years working for. His official start date has been confirmed as October 1 this year, with him reporting to Sauber Group CEO Andreas Seidel. Marco acknowledged that every F1 contract has exit clauses, and revealed that Perez's future will be discussed after the next two races. Marco said all Formula One contracts have exit clauses, most of them related to performance or let's say for the top drivers. As I mentioned before, we will have an evaluation during the summer break and then we will make a decision. Adrian Newey's F1 future almost certainly lies in England, not Italy, according to reports from Ferrari's homeland. Ever since, Ferrari have been touted as the most likely destination should the 65-year-old opt to remain in the sport. Now, it appears that move is in serious doubt, with the designer of the RB17 hypercar preferring to remain in his home country. Red Bull team principal Christian Horner's dream is reportedly to replace Sergio Perez with Daniel Ricciardo. Ricciardo has been back with the Red Bull family since 2023, and Perez only signed a new contract with Red Bull in June, but it has become apparent that it is highly conditional on various performance clauses, which could come into the equation sooner than expected. What are the rumored performance clauses in Sergio Perez's contract? The details of any driver's contract are always kept under lock and key, but research into the matter has led to an understanding that the performance clauses that have been alluded to by Helmut Marko are pretty straightforward. Perez's contract with Red Bull may include caveats that he cannot be swapped back to the sister team, but these can be overridden by such clauses. In this case, the door for Red Bull to make a change could be opened by being too far behind in the Drivers' Championship. To that end, Perez is believed to be required to be within 100 points of Max Verstappen as the summer break rolls around. At the conclusion of the Belgian Grand Prix, with Verstappen the obvious benchmark for Red Bull, Perez being within 100 points equates to retiring from 4 races while the Dutch driver retires, meaning there's quite a bit of leeway for Perez to hit that target. However, Perez's form has been such that he is currently 137 points, behind his teammate at the halfway point of the season and with 2 races to go until that clause kicks in. This means Perez will need to outscore Verstappen by 37 points over the next 2 races in order to ensure the clause does not become available to Red Bull. Given that Perez is almost 6 victories behind Verstappen after 12 races, it's difficult to see the Mexican driver turning things around to the extent that he will be able to stave off the availability of this clause. Which drivers could potentially replace Sergio Perez at Red Bull? While the clause being activated would open the door for Red Bull to make a change, there's no guarantee that a change will be made. Given Perez's recent form has seen him secure just 15 points in 6 weekends, Red Bull has little to lose by swapping him for pretty much anyone available, but Perez has shown he is perfectly capable of strong results when he is in control of his destiny. But, with the possibility of change in mind, it appears Red Bull is now in evaluation mode as to who could be the best candidate for the seat. Yuki Tsunoda, despite his impressive form for CARB, is understood not to be under consideration for the seat, but Daniel Ricciardo's recent improvement in form has brought him into contention. Ricciardo, who raced with Red Bull between 2014 and 18, leaving the outfit after 2.5 years partnered with Verstappen, was brought back into the Red Bull fold before last year's summer break. This was with an eye to seeing whether the Australian could recoup his old form and, while he hasn't quite managed that, he has shown improvement over the past 12 months. As a known quantity and having previously thrived in the Red Bull car and environment,